Hey, hi, welcome, and I'm glad you're here. This is Stephanie with This Reader's Life, Books and Other Blessings, and mostly on this channel I talk about books, but every now and then there is a blessing that I want to mention, and today I'm going to start off with that blessing, and it is, I had kind of held off on doing this tag because Nicky from My Messy Bookshelf had tagged me, and then the next thing, one of the very next things that happened is she she sent a post out that said that her dog had run off during a storm and that she wouldn't be posting again because she was trying to find her dog. Her family was heartbroken, and of course everyone's best wishes and prayers were with her to get her dog back. And I kept watching and hoping and praying. And she did post, and her dog did get back home. He was kind of a big, pretty dog. Maybe part, but I couldn't tell what kind of dog it was. Maybe part pit bull, but really pretty with the sweetest eyes. And I was so glad that they got their dog back. It's so hard. Your pets are they're so much a part of your family. So that was a big blessing for her family. And I wanted to mention that and how happy I was for her. And again, Nicky is the one that tagged me for this tag. It is a numbers tag. And I'm going to put my glasses on because I wrote down some notes to do this one. Tags are fun to do, kind of rapid fire, but sometimes they're just, this is a numbers tag, and if sometimes you have to count a few things up to figure it out. So anyway, I did take a few notes for this one. This tag was originally created by Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff, and that was in 2022, which means it's about 4 years old. And it seems to kind of recently revived. Like I said, I was tagged by Nicky at My Messy Bookshelf, and I'm so glad that the tag is sort of back in the circuit. And thank you so much to Nicky for tagging me. So there's about 9 or 10 questions, and some of them are real easy, and some of them I had to think about. The questions are: what was your first Booktube video? And my first Booktube video was about 7 months ago. It was not I didn't do the newbie tag. I did call it my newbie book video, and I talked about the fact that I'm new at this and that I was interested in it. And it was pretty cringy. It was pretty awful, but I made my sister watch it, and she said, "Oh, you were wonderful," and I believed her. So I decided to keep going. And I have kept going, and I don't know if I'm any better or any worse than what I was when I started, but I'm still having a whole lot of fun with it, which I mentioned with the very first one that I did. So anyone that wants to go back and see it, I know it says my newbie or Booktube newbie, so, but it's not a tag. Then the next question is, how many books are you currently reading? And right now I am reading 6, and I mean they're all on my open currently reading on my Goodreads, and I am reading all of these, although I don't read from each one every day. And it would have been 7 books that I was currently reading, but I just finished one today that I sort of hurried through it, but I had a limit. It was a library book that has been on hold, and so I knew that I needed to get that one done. And that one that I just finished was Project Hail Mary. The other ones that I'm reading right now are The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 6 by Beth Brower. I'm reading East of Eden, which is for big books of summer, by John Steinbeck. Everything That Rises Must Converge is another one that I am reading. It is a book of short stories by Flannery O'Connor. If you don't know her, she's a Southern writer who kind of writes gothic grotesque, but and with a little bit of religion in there as well. She's a great writer. She's one of my favorite writers, and I've not read that. The next one that I'm reading, which I need to get to work on because it's another one that's on hold at the library that I need to get back, that is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. The 5th one is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. It is by Rachel Joyce, and I'm quite a ways into that, but I sort of set it aside. So I do anticipate finishing it. I chose it partly for Joy Reading June, and so we'll see. I'm not sure how that's going to go. The 6th one is Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose, and I've been reading that for a long time. Haven't picked it up for a while, but it's still on my currently reading. And actually, I'm thinking that there's one more that I have on my radar, but I can't think what it was. So we'll just go with 6. I'm reading 6 books right now. What were the top 3 books that you read last year? And some people have had a hard time answering this. It was easy for me to answer, partly because I read 2 books that meant so much to me and I enjoyed so much. The first one is a classic, To Kill a Mockingbird. I read it for the first time in 2025, so that was last year. Harper Lee, wonderful, wonderful book. The next one is The Honeycomb by Adela Rogers St. John. It's about a reporter at the beginning of the 20th century, and it was a what would you call that? A memoir or autobiography, and I enjoyed it very, very much. I thought it was beautifully written. And then the last one, which was just a fun book, and the genre was different for me, was The Ministry of Time by Kaylee Ann Bradley. And it is sort of a time travel, romance, science fiction, historical. It was just a little bit of everything, and I enjoyed that book. So those were my 3 top books for 2025. I feel pretty comfortable with those. How many books did you read last year? Last year, I don't think I kept track for the first part of the year. I've been on Goodreads for years, but I had abandoned it for the most part. And now I am using it again. And per Goodreads, I read 34 books. I may have read a few more than that, but 34 I feel confident about for sure. There may be a few others that I missed. How many books have I rated 5 stars this year? And I looked that up, and I felt like I may have rated more than what I did. But I came up with, it's either 4 or 5 books. 3 Days in June by Ann Tyler is one. There was a Billy Collins book of poetry that I really enjoyed that I rated 5. And then any of the unselected journals of Emma M. Thompson. I give those 5 stars because I think they are incredible fun. I don't think that they're the most literary thing I've ever read or the best writing that I've ever read, but I truly love those books and I enjoy them so much that they get 5 stars every time for me. Let's see, what's the next one? Do I have a reading target for this year, and are you on track? I did have a reading target, and I still have it, and it is to read 52 books this year. I didn't know exactly what I'd be reading. I knew I wanted to do YouTube, and I thought, if you could just read a book a week, you'll have something to talk about. So I chose 52 books, and right now I've read 38, so I'm on target. I'm easily going to make my 52 books, but I don't know exactly when. I don't know exactly if I do know when, more or less, but I just don't know. I think I'll read more than 52. I think that's what I'm trying to say, not very well. 52 books at least. How many pages long is the book you are reading now? Well, I'm reading several at once, but the long one that I'm kind of engrossed in right now and want to make sure that I finish is East of Eden, and it is well over 600 pages, so I do believe. So that is how long the book that I am reading now is, about 600 pages. And how long are your videos? Well, they're too long. I never want them to be quite as long as they are. I'm a talker, apparently, which I didn't realize when I started this, but my husband told me, yeah, you should have realized it. But he teases me all the time about taking too long to tell a story. But my videos right now are about 25 to 30 minutes long. I want for them to be 15, so we'll see. I'm going to quit talking here for a minute and try to stay under my requirement for myself. Do I have a favorite number? I sort of do. I like the number 12. It was, I have a hair in my face. It was a number that meant a lot to my parents. Their favorite song was called The 12th of Never. They started dating on my dad's birthday, which was on March 12th. When we moved into a house, the number 12 was part of our address. It just seemed to just come up over and over, and my parents always got such a kick out of it when 12 came up in anything that happened. And then my kids were born on the 13th. They were both due on the 12th. 2 separate months, a couple of years apart. But they were born on the 13th, and at that time, I raised my kids to understand that 13th was the luckiest number in the world, especially if it was a Friday and it was your birthday. So the 13th is kind of a fun, 13 is a fun number for me. The last question, do you have a book on your shelves with a number in the title or on the cover? And on my shelf, I do not have a lot of books, a lot of physical books. I do have 3 Days in June, which that's definitely a number. And I probably have others because there may be dates on them, like 1875 to whatever. Because I've got some historical books, and a lot of those will show a date. But as far as like the 7 husbands of whatever, or the I don't think that I have anything that has that kind of number on it. So I'm going to say 3 Days of June in June for sure, and that's all I know of for sure that I have. And then the last thing is to tag others, and I'm going to tag anyone at all who is interested in this tag. Just say if you've watched me all the way through and you want to do this tag, please feel free to do it. And then the other thing is I will tag 3 or 4 amazing booktubers that I think would enjoy this, if I can find some that haven't already done it. So that takes care of this numbers tag. I have another tag that I'll probably save it for next week. But until you see me again, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to the planet, and be blessed. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.